And she said and it wasn't even like that. Like, she cursed at me. She said, like, something under the fuck. And, like, I was like, hold up, wait a minute. My little 18-year-old ass and her could look like she was old enough to be my mom. I was like, I gathered her on that phone call. And I said, this could be my last day. I don't give a flying fish. But if you ever, you will see me. As a matter of fact, I'll come over there and tell you this to your damn face. Don't you ever.
Maybe she was just letting the stress get to her like you were.
Yeah, I'm not yelling at people, though.
I know, but you let it manifest in a different way.
Yeah, let it kill me, but I'm not going to be rude to people.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So after that, my contract was coming up for renewal like 4 months after. They didn't renew my contract, and I kind of like didn't care because, again, I got really sick, and I was like, that's it for me. Welcome to Too Much,
our podcast about, well, whatever.
From issues of the world to topics of lesser grandeur. We've got you covered with a little bit too much to say about everything.
So let's start the show.
I've won Employee of the Month 10 months in a row, Michael.
And I'm Ted Cruz's dog named Cody.
You didn't get to go to Puerto Vallarta with him?
I think he went to Cuba.
No, he went to Mexico.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I didn't. I was back at home in the house, following COVID protocols.
Freezing to death.
Amen.
So, Cody, what have you been up to for the past week?
We watched some good movies recently.
Yeah, but I can't remember any of them.
Promising Young Woman.
That was an interesting movie. I didn't love everything about it. There were some choices made that I personally would not have made if I were in the director's chair or in the writing room.
Like what?
Like the whole stages of the movie, like, stage 1, stage 2 to stage 5.
Okay.
And the choices that they made the main character make, I was like, was there a mental issue there with her? Like, why would she do that?
A mental issue. For those who don't know, it's this woman whose friend was raped when they were in college, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's kind of seeking revenge by getting back at the people who did things to her, but also just trying to teach guys a lesson who
take advantage of
girls
that are inebriated.
Yeah.
It starts off this way. First of all, she goes into bars every night or every weekend. I don't know when she does it. She pretends as if she is drunk and just wasted. Then some supposedly nice guy comes up to her and is like, oh, let me help you get out and like, let me get you home safely, and ends up taking her back to their place. And every night, when it's supposedly a nice guy, that nice guy ends up showing that he's actually a douche by trying to take advantage of her sexually while they think she's drunk. And I initially thought maybe she kills them, which would be interesting, but she doesn't kill them. She just tells them plainly, like, oh, you thought I was drunk. I'm not drunk, and I don't want you to touch me. You need to learn how to respect women. So it's like, and she has this notebook that she has like hundreds of guys. Like, she marks down each time she's done one of these things. And I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah, she's been doing it forever.
What is the point of that? Are you trying to teach each man a lesson one by one? Like,
yeah.
But these men aren't going to change because of you.
Some of them will.
They will be more selective in the girls they try to take advantage of moving forward. But I was like, it just seems weird to do it. And even if you're going to do it, I would have preferred it if she, like, mutilated them afterwards, like, cut their dick off for trying to rape her or kill them. But she didn't do any of that. She was just like, you thought I was drunk. I'm not. Don't ever touch a woman again. I was like, girl, is that all? All of this extra production value for this?
She's teaching them lessons, one by one. She's doing the Lord's work.
The Lord's work, indeed. So, for that reason, I would have given this a solid 30 on Rotten Tomatoes if I was one of their...
30?
Yeah.
Well, the reviews for it are either people really like it or they really hate it. I think it was interesting. It's an interesting commentary on gender politics.
It is. Spoiler alert. I mean, we're telling you everything about it right now. She dies in the end. I was like, ugh.
Wow, that really is a spoiler. Jeez.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, we're spoiling stuff. I have always spoiled stuff. Sorry.
It was good. I thought the ending was the best part.
You know, the ending is what pissed me off the most.
Why?
Because I'm like, you are so stupid.
Why?
She didn't have to die.
Oh yeah, but she didn't have to, but
But
she went there knowing that she might.
I feel like she wanted to.
Well, she eases her pain.
It seems that way. Because the plan, she could have easily exposed everyone who raped her friend and like gotten them jail time and everything. But she's like, let me go confront you face to face for myself.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer about my dead friend, it's for me at this point. That's what I felt like. And not only confront you, but try to mutilate. Cause she was trying to carve her friend's name on the guy's body who raped her. And the guy cuts loose and strangles her to death. I'm like, you could have easily just gotten the confession out of him and left. But you wanted to go further because
She wanted revenge.
it transcended what happened to her friend and it became all about her.
You think?
That's what I got from it.
I don't think that.
I'm a viewer and that's what I took away from it. And then she died, but she already had a contingency because again, it felt like she went there planning to die. She had the contingency where she already sent the video to someone to release it. She had like proof that she was there and everything. So the police knew who to arrest and where to come find her body and all of that type of stuff. They strangled her to death. They burned her alive. Well, she was dead when they burned her. And that was it. Her life, and her entire life was lived for that friend who had that tragedy. Because based on how she explained
Yeah,
how
they were best friends.
I have people in my life that I consider very close, but they do not consume my life.
Well, they didn't consume her life until after she died.
No, there was a moment in the end when she was talking about the friend, and it felt like the friend was like her everything. It was like, sorry, she was she was like, my friend was fully formed since the age of 4. She had the perfect face, she had the charisma, she was a grown person the moment I met her. She was always a whole person. She was always beautiful. Everyone wanted to be her. Everyone wanted to be with her. And she was like very obsessive about her friend. And when this really terrible thing happened to her friend, she left school with her friend to go take care of her friend after she was raped.
Yeah.
And that was very admirable. But then the friend committed suicide and then she just couldn't go on with her life.
She started taking care of the friend.
No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, after she committed suicide. Yeah.
She couldn't go on with her life. And so she was still like living in that moment, living in that space. And her personal well being and everything just went to shit. And she dedicated herself to a cause which I don't really know if she was sure what the cause was. She had an idea that the cause was to not have what happened to her friend happen to any other woman, but the way she went about it seemed misguided, and she really just lost herself. And that's why I feel like her friend was her world because she could never find herself after that.
Yeah, it was definitely misguided, but I don't think that takes away from the movie. It was a good movie.
I just find some of the choices to be like, meh. The movie could have been better if some of the choices they made were different.
But I think the choices were realistic.
You know what? Probably for someone that's.
So then it's fine.
I didn't care for it though. It's like I don't relate to that person.
So it wasn't a bad movie, you just didn't like it. It was a good movie. You just weren't a fan.
What's the difference?
Things can be good without you liking them. I see lots of fashion and I'm like, that's nice, but I wouldn't wear it. Not my personal style.
Well, this is how I see it. The movie just didn't feel as realistic as I wanted it to be for my personal taste. It was realistic for somebody else, but for me it wasn't.
You want to talk about realistic? We also watched that movie Assassination Nation.
Oh.
Which is older. I think it came out, I feel like it came out when I was working at a movie theater, so at least like 5 years ago. Yeah.
Is it that old of a movie?
I think so. I mean, 5 years isn't that old.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 2016.
Yeah.
That's a while ago. That was a really good movie. That was a really powerful movie with a commentary on feminism and how women are treated in society and sexuality. It was really, really good. If this was done 5 years ago, this is very progressive because they had a really prominent trans actor.
It actually came out in 2018.
Okay.
So about 3 years ago.
I enjoyed it. Stuff from the timeline. So if you're a fan of Drag Race, you probably know of this queen called SherryPie. She was cast on RuPaul's Drag Race season 12, and she was disqualified for inappropriate conduct and catfishing and a host of other things. She was like excommunicated from the LGBTQIA plus community. No one wanted anything to do with her. We haven't heard of her in like over a year, and now she has resurfaced in the form of an interview with Tamron Hall. Have you watched the interview?
Yeah, I watched it.
Thoughts?
I don't think that she really had much to say. She just came on and basically apologized to her victims and said that she's getting mental health treatment right now, and that was basically it. Just took full accountability for everything that happened, said none of the allegations. I actually did basically everything that anyone's accused me of. And yeah, just apologized. And I didn't think there was a whole lot of constructive stuff that came from it.
No, I didn't think so either. I recall her saying initially when everything came to light in 2020, accept full responsibility. Anyone who has come forward, I am not disputing what their claims. I know what I've done. I'm sorry. I have mental issues. I'm doing air quotes right now because she was kind of hiding behind that crutch of like, I have a mental problem, which I'm never a fan of. She basically said the same things. Nothing changed. The only thing I noticed was that she kept using the mental thing as a crutch, like, oh, I had to work on myself and I'm going to therapy. And it's like, okay, you want forgiveness, but we need atonement. That you are doing the therapy for you and to make yourself better. But what will you do to like rectify or make good with the community that you've really fucked with?
Yeah, he told Tamron that he had like reached out to some of the victims and had conversations, and he still, I guess, talks to one of them or two of them. He said.
I guess he said something like some of them have responded to him and had conversations, but one of them told him, "Please never contact me again."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what his goal is in contacting them because again, he never said anything. He's like, "Oh, I've reached out to them," but reach out to them to say what? To apologize
I
and
mean,
to like give them their money back? Like what? I don't
I think
know.
he reached out to them to apologize because a lot of them were actually in his friend circle, so it would have been easy to reach out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So he probably reached out to the ones that were actually close friends of his.
Yeah, I'm. This is how I feel about Sherry Pie. I. It's not for me to forgive you. You did nothing to me. But I personally will not be supporting Sherry Pie in whatever endeavors she or he, whatever his pronouns are, whatever they do in the future, I will not be supporting it. I just don't feel comfortable. Just like with R. Kelly, when everything went out, if I heard one of his songs come up on a playlist that I was listening to, I'd be like, Alexa, next. Like, I just don't.
Do you think you can ever come back from sexual misconduct?
Oh, it's so hard to say because it's possible, but
Is it?
then I mean, anything is possible, to be honest. Like, almost anything is possible.
I know
You just
people.
have to.
There's like so much trauma associated with sex crimes, and there's like a particular like stigma. You know what I mean?
I mean, if
People
you.
sooner welcome back like a murderer.
Murderers. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I was just about to say, if people can forgive murderers, why the hell they can't forgive, you know? Um, I think anything is possible, but the work has to be put in. So if Sherry or whatever, what is his real name? I don't know.
I don't remember.
But if Sherry decides to start up a program like from the on the back seat though, like not spearhead it because once your face and name's associated with it up front, no one wants to be a part of that. But like give back to the community, show that you are actively working to make things better. Atonement, 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 atonement. Not just words. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We've heard it all before. Me personally, if you've done something to wrong me, I really don't care for I'm sorry. Like I just want to know you're not going to do that shit again and that you show me that that part of you is over. So maybe.
Yeah, I could see her not developing, but becoming part of a program, like working with like sex abuse survivors or
Hmm.
something like that. Community center, staying low key. Yeah, I can see that in her future.
And I mean, America in general loves a comeback story.
That would be quite the comeback story, though.
They do, but the gay community. Listen, this is what I have to say about her like coming back as far as like being a part of the LGBTQ community and like having a station there. Gays are very quick to like villainize anyone that's not of what they are. And with this specific case, I'm on board that he did something extremely bad. I I don't know to the full extent in details of what he did because the whole time I've been listening to the stories and like doing research, it's been pretty vague for the most part. What
That
I
was the one thing about the Tamron Hall interview. I thought they would come on and be like,
give
"You did
more,
this to this person, that to that person,"
it
and
was still
I thought they
vague.
would lay out exactly what happened, and they just skipped right over it.
I was so annoyed because I'm like, I don't want to watch it because I don't really care that much if I'm being totally honest, but it is something that is of pop culture and it is something that is in what's going on in society that kind of intersects with what I do on YouTube and whatnot, drag. So I'm like, let me see what this is about. All I really know for sure is that she was like stealing money, like taking money from people to say, oh, it's going towards
For fake
casting or
gigs.
whatever for gigs, and they didn't have any gigs in store for them. So you're stealing. That is a criminal offense. The catfishing part, it's like, I don't know if you can go to jail for that. The laws are a bit loosey goosey there.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a whole show on MTV called Catfish.
that's a loud chair.
Yeah, and you keep moving. They have a whole show on MTV called Catfish, and we see these people do it all the time, and no one gets criminally charged for it because there is not really a law for it. And so it's like I know that some of the accusers said that they were told to do demeaning videos, send nudes and stuff. Like when they say demeaning videos, I don't know if it was like bend over on all fours and video yourself barking like a dog in a thong. I don't know what, or were they like send me a picture of your torso and your testicles so that I know you're perfect for this part. I
I mean,
don't.
the details have to be out there somewhere, but I've never really looked into it that
That's
much.
the thing. I've heard interviews with some because there were like over 50 people that accused her. And I've listened to two interviews, skimmed through an article. So again, I'm not a journalist here. I'm not a journalist. I'm just giving my little 2 cents on what I know so far. And I watched Jake Yancey's like hour long deep dive into it. And I still am not too clear on some of the things she has done. All I know is over 50 people have claimed that she's either stole money from them or had them send her nude or embarrassing photos slash videos of themselves with the hopes of getting a gig, but then they didn't get a job.
But enough about Sherry Pie.
Yeah, enough
What
about
else has
that
been on
now.
your timeline this week? You said something about someone being held at gunpoint or
Oh my
something or
god,
other?
there was this reporter. He was live on freaking TV.
Yeah.
And this guy literally walked up to him, gun to his head, give me your wallet, took the wallet from him, and ran away. Yeah.
Where was this?
Oh God, where is it? I'm gonna have to find it. But it was just so wild to see. I'm like, how brave are you? So okay, so it says direct TV sports reporter Diego
Hmm.
was working near the where is this? Okay. What's that? What's that? Where's that
I
place?
have no idea. Guy kill? I don't
I
know.
don't know where Geico is. When an armed suspect approached him during the broadcast, he asked the okay hand over his phone and wallet while pointing a gun towards him. Anyways, he took the phone and the wallet, and he ran away. And then the cameraman and the reporter ran after him. I'm like, why would you run after him? What if he turned around and shot you?
Yeah, he still has the gun.
Right. So that was very interesting to me. I'm like, the guy was like, he had a mask on and a hat. And that's pretty much it. This is the image of him.
That's so bold.
I don't know if they're ever going to identify him because, again, we're living in a society where people wear masks. So he's probably going to get away with this.
Yeah, no, that's super difficult. Okay, did you see this OnlyFans mom who got her kids were kicked out of school when the school found out about her OnlyFans account?
Very religious school, I'm assuming.
Yes, Catholics. Yeah, Catholic school.
I don't agree with that. I feel like as a parent, you should not be judged for whatever form of work you choose because at the end of the day, your tuition is being paid.
That's true.
I get it if it's a teacher or a faculty member, then you're like,
Right.
oh. And even then, I'm like, if you do that on the side and it's not illegal, then mind your business.
But then when people find out about it, it kind of becomes the school's business.
No.
If it's a teacher, yeah. That's why some teachers, well, these days it's different. But like when I was in school, like a lot of teachers didn't have social media or their social media would be like super private.
Yeah.
Now friggin' kids teachers are on TikTok and stuff like that, adding them on Instagram.
I follow someone on Twitter that's on TikTok as well, and he's a teacher. Well, he's a young guy around my age, and his kids follow him, like the kids he teaches.
Yeah, exactly.
And he talks about all sorts of stuff, and I'm like, okay.
Okay, well it's actually a couple. Like it's a married couple. They said they started the OnlyFans to rekindle their relationship after the wife went through early menopause. So they started like posting daily pictures and whatever. I don't think they were posting them having sex. It's mostly just like sexy photos and story times or whatever. They posted it to rebuild her confidence, and they started making $150,000. And then other parents at the school sent pictures of her to the school's principal. And then after the principal saw it, he kicked all three of their kids out of the school.
You see, now, whichever nosy ass parent did this, like, first of all, you bought a subscription. So it's clearly not that bad. Like, you're into it.
Exactly.
Nosy.
And what do you think, like, when your kids go over to their house to play, they're, like, taking OnlyFans pictures in front of all the children?
And even if I have a child going to school and I find out that one of the parents does sex work, it's up to my discretion if I want my kid to go to that house to have a play date or not. If I want them to go because I'm pretty sure if I trust the parent enough to know that they're not doing anything sexual around my kid, then be like, all right. If I don't trust them that well, I'll be like, you're not going over to Billy's house.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that Billy should not be afforded the same level of education or the same quality of education my kids are afforded.
I just wonder how the other parents found out about it.
Well, it's OnlyFans, so I'm pretty sure it's like a link in the bio on their Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, but I would think that they wouldn't put their real names on it, and they probably have like separate social media accounts without their names where they promoted their OnlyFans.
Maybe they weren't thinking about it that deeply. Like, they weren't ashamed of it, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they're just, I mean, they send their kids to a Catholic school, but maybe they're just very liberal, sex-positive people. Because, like I said, I don't think they're doing pornography.
And even if they were, it ain't none of y'all's business.
Well, I mean, the pictures are a little softcore, but I don't think that they were having sex on the channel.
I personally feel like the school is out of line. The parents that are like complaining, they're out of line. This is none of your business. Mind the business that pays you. Literally, this is what pays them. So leave them to do it. It's not illegal. And secondly, why would you need to go on freaking OnlyFans to rekindle a relationship?
Well, because she went through, that was a bad, I think, way of saying
it doesn't matter
a relationship.
what you guys went through.
But it was just to make her feel sexy again.
So she needed other people to think that she's hot in order for her to feel sexy again.
It certainly helped, I guess.
Well, there's something fundamentally wrong in your relationship, lady, because this is like outside of the whole school thing.
Not necessarily.
In my opinion, if I'm in a relationship with someone and I need other people to tell me that I'm hot in order to feel sexual again or like rekindle whatever is lost between my partner and I, then maybe my partner is not for me.
Okay, but take away the rekindling part and just making you feel like you're attractive. He probably takes the pictures of her and it's like an activity that they do together.
Yeah, but that's
what
Instagram's
we might as well put
for.
the pictures out and get money for them. It's like a project. It's like a hobby.
Okay, if I were in that state of mind, and again, I'm very different from other people. No two people are the exact same, so I'm a little different here. if I didn't feel sexy and I wanted to feel desirable from people that I don't know, I personally am not a fan of like taking nudes. And that's just because I don't want that to be floating around the world or whatever. And I feel like that would just mortify my parents. Like, oh my god, where did we go wrong?
Huh?
But I'd probably just take some really flattering photos of myself, like that I'm comfortable with the world seeing, and post them somewhere where the world could see and could critique me and give me positive feedback to make me feel good about myself. And that's what Instagram is for a lot of people.
But that's not sexual.
But if you put on a nice outfit and it hugs your body right, then you can feel sexy. You don't need to feel like everyone wants to like.
But again, that would be really broadcasting it. So then the parents would have saw it immediately, like, oh look, Tommy's mom is out here in her skin tight dress on Instagram every day.
So she's clothed.
Yeah, but you know how people talk. Whereas this was like away from it all. I'm telling you, it was probably anonymous, and somebody just happened to.
If it's what you
see
say
her
it
picture.
is, then that parent who found it, like,
Should have mind their own business. Now it's a whole thing, and now it's like, what was your goal? To protect the school from our OnlyFans? Now everyone in the school, all the parents, all the kids know about the OnlyFans.
well, I hope they all subscribed.
Honestly.
At least they can get paid for it. Sorry to hear that your kids can't go to that Catholic school, but oh well. Oh well. So you guys been listening to the podcast. Thank you.
But if the Too Much podcast isn't enough, there's a whole lot more content on Michael's YouTube.
Yeah, I post like every single week and I have literally too much going on over there.
Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and please drop a comment and tell us what you thought or what you'd like to see Michael do next.
Bye. Oh, no. Back to the show.
So today we're going to talk about jobs, occupations, careers, goals,
Aspirations.
our first jobs, best jobs, and worst jobs. Michael, what was the worst job you ever had?
The worst job I've ever had. Wow. Now, I've had so many jobs in my lifetime that it's hard to pinpoint, but one that stands out to me right now would have to be I was a research analyst for this company, for this banking company, and it was just so stressful. Every day was like a competition between everyone that worked there, and it was so like goal oriented, and every day you'd see the numbers and you'd be like, oh, I'm not doing well, or what. I did amazingly, by the way. I remember in the interview they're like, it's very competitive, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. I'm like, I love competition, bring it on.
And then you got there, you're like, I hate this competition.
No, I thrived off of it, to be honest. But when I got there I was like, this is just too much. Like, everything I do, it's just under a microscope, and I just didn't feel freedom to do whatever I wanted. And I was like taking a while to get things. I was like, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And so I did the training, and within like, after my probation, a month after that, I just skyrocketed. And all of a sudden I was like top 3. And I was like, ooh, you're onto something here. But it's like the better you did, the more they expected of you.
Yeah.
Say my goal was to say my ABCs from A to B every day. And I was now...
A to Z?
A to B.
That's only 2 letters.
I know, but like, say that was my goal. I'm just trying to use something to equate it with. I don't know.
Okay.
All right, let's say I was supposed to sell... This was not a sales job, but it kind of... Anyway. Say I was supposed to sell 1 apple a day. I was selling 3 a day.
Mm-hmm.
So because I was like doing way over what I needed to do, and I was like doing very well, I was
Your
like...
new goal became 4 apples.
Because I was like top 3 in the whole department or whatever, and I was like, a lot more pressure got placed on me. And I saw regular people that came in with me, or like people who've been there way before me, just doing their 1 apple a day. And I'm like, y'all ain't stressing them out. You're not breathing down their backs.
Mm-hmm.
They do their 1 apple and they go home. I'm doing 3, and now you're like, whenever everyone else is like slacking, my manager would come over to me and be like, hey Michael, how are you doing today? Like, what's going on? Are you feeling pumped? And blah blah blah.
Are you feeling
like,
pumped?
Well, how are you feeling? Yada yada yada. So, and she like tell me like, so this is where we're at today in terms of our goals and stuff. And do you think you have any more in you? Like, and I'm like, girl,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not come to save us. I am not here to do people's jobs for them. To the point when my 3 apples a day went to like 6, 10 apples a day, I was like, okay, I'm doing above and beyond. I feel like I'm working 5 days a week. If I do 5 apples, you should just give me the rest of the week off. Because that's what I should do in a week.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
And if I'm doing double that, sometimes I would go to work towards the end. Like I got so comfortable doing this job and it became so easy and like second nature to me. Like I would come and by 11 o'clock, I would be done. Like I've met my goal. Can I go home?
Yeah, I hate a job where like the goalpost is constantly moving.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, well then I should be getting paid.
You know, and that's what I did. I went to her and I said, listen, her name was Lisa.
Listen, Lisa.
I would go, because sometimes I'd be like done and I'm like, I'm not in the mood. And I'd go over and tell her, like, I have a headache. This job is stressful as hell. And I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing more than I should. And she would like give me, and she brought these things to work one day and she made a little corner. And because I told her I'm getting stressed out, and she made a little quiet corner or something, like creative corner, I think she called it. And there was like crayons and a coloring book
Oh
and a
my
stress
God.
ball.
Say, that's not doing anything for me, actually.
I went over there and I colored and I fell asleep.
Some foolishness.
I colored my little drawing and I fell asleep. But I told her one day, I'm like, I need more money. Because
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to ask for more money. And I was like, I need more. And she's like, to be honest, it's above me to give you more money. I'm like, you're my manager. And she's like, yeah, but you have to go to my manager if you want more money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wouldn't you go to them and like go to bat for me? And
Yeah.
I'm like, fine. I went straight to his office, walked down, knocked on the door. He's like, hey, how are you? He treated me really great. Like, we never had conversations. It's like, you'd see me, but we don't talk.
Yeah.
Because what do I have to say to him? But you know who I am. You see my name on the top of the board every single day. So I went in, I'm like, hey, do you have a minute? I need to talk to you about something really important. He's like, yeah, come in. I went in and I'm like, this is what I feel like. I'm doing a lot and I need more money.
And?
I got more money, but then they started having me train people. And it's like, they had me train people while I'm doing my own damn job. And I'm like, you want me to keep this goal? Like me, normally I'm supposed to be doing 1 apple a day. I'm doing anywhere from like a regular day. My average was like 6. I'm doing 10, 12. One day I did 17 and that was like a record. And then some bitch like took my record 3 months later. But they had me training new people at the same time, like do whatever he's doing, like let him tell you what he's doing, because it's like, I'm like, okay. And I was getting so frustrated, but I preferred the training part because then I wouldn't have to do much of my own work.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like they still expected me to do, they didn't expect me to do the 1 apple anymore, because it's like, oh, you're up here, we just expect a minimum 6, 10 from you a day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't give you those great numbers if I'm focused on other people and trying to get them to do their job.
Yeah. I hate training. I absolutely hate it. Unless it's where you get to just lay back. Like the first few days you train someone where you actually need to show them.
Yeah.
And like do it properly and stuff. Hate it. I also just hate explaining things. I'm like, if you can't get it from watching me do it, I can't explain it to you. And then the last few days when it's like, okay, go on your own, and then if you have any questions, just ask me as you go. Those are the best days.
I love training because I've taught before, and so I love teaching people, and I have this philosophy that if the way to prove that I know how to do my job effectively and the best is if I can impart what I know to someone else. If I can explain it to you for you to do it as good as me, then I know my shit.
Yeah, I hate explaining things to people. I'm not a good teacher. I expect people to get things very quickly. Like when people train me, it's like, just give me the bullet points and I'll just assume the rest.
Oh, you
And
don't
I
even
just
like learning.
I expect people to do that. Like if I tell you to do something, just assume the rest. Or ask me if you have any questions.
Yeah, that's not great. When I was in school, like as a student, I would always look at my teachers and be like, I could never do what you do because kids are stupid.
They are.
Because I was always that kid that would read ahead, and I was very like, I wanted to be the little know-it-all, so I would want to come up in the class and have debates with my teachers all the time. And when I saw other kids like not knowing stuff and not getting stuff, I'd be like, why don't you get it? It's not that hard.
Oh my gosh.
And so
that's called arrogance.
Yeah, I was a little arrogant as a kid. I will admit that. And so I'd be like, I could never be a teacher because this looks stressful. And I know how much lip I gave my teacher because she'd be like, this is an assignment. My first question would be, is it graded? Like,
oh my god, you're one of those kids.
And she's like, well, no, it's not graded, but...
But wait, why would an assignment not be graded?
Because sometimes teachers just give you stuff to do just so that you know the material, but it's not really something that they're grading you. Like, it doesn't impact your overall nothing.
That's weird.
Well, that's how my school
was. Like
was.
in high school, at least. That's weird to be doing assignments that are not part of your grading. No, but I hate people who are like, is this graded? It's like, just, you're at school, like, give things effort. I don't get it.
No, I was a lazy student. And it boggles my mind because I did so well in school, but I was extremely lazy.
Because you only cared about the things that were graded.
Yeah, I was like, and I remember it was English class, and she was like, no, it's not graded, but it would be great for you to do it so you can understand, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I'm not doing it. Straight up in the class, I'm not doing it. And everyone else was looking at me like, ballsy. And they're like, well, if he's not doing it, why should I do it? So my teachers didn't care for me for those reasons. I'm so sorry. What's her name? I forget her name. But she was such a sweet teacher. So sorry. I've learned the error of my ways. What was your worst job?
What was my worst job? I don't know. I love all my jobs. But I think the last job that I did, the social media job, was probably the worst job I've ever had. And not because I hate social media. Just I wasn't really like a big fan of my bosses or like how they were doing it or the things that I had to do. Like I wasn't just a social media coordinator. I was like editing articles to go on a website. I was like working in the background of the website to like publish videos and do stuff like that and look at site traffic. And it wasn't just posting pictures on Instagram. So I think that was my worst job. I love my jobs. Ugh. I pretty much love every job I've ever had.
Gross. I hate those people that are like, I love everything.
I maybe had two jobs that I didn't like. I worked at Canadian Tire for a week.
Oh, really? What did you do?
I was like a seasonal stock associate. It's just like a
like you just put
sales associate
on shelves and stuff.
Yeah, I just walk around and help people with stuff.
I wouldn't mind doing something like that.
I was just so intimidated because you literally have no idea, and it's just one of those jobs where it's like your day to day is just people coming up and asking you questions, and when you're new, you have no idea what's going on.
And Canadian Tire is huge.
Yeah, and you have no knowledge of the products. Like people come up and ask you about like soil and stuff. It's like I don't know this stuff.
I'm that type of guy. I will see anyone anywhere in the store, and I'm like, how does that work? And where do I find that? And it's not the best one to do this.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm asking them, and I'm like, I don't even know if they know.
And they had these old ass computers, and they would train you and be like, "Oh, you want to do a price check? It's like F7." Like it was one of those computer systems, a black and white screen.
I used one of those computer systems at one of my first jobs. The program was called ACE 400, and to do my job, I had to like press. There was no using a cursor or a mouse. Everything was keys.
Yeah,
I loved it. I was so fast on it, like. F this space bar, that. I loved it.
I didn't. Anytime someone asked me for a price, I was like, "Oh God, what F was it that he said?"
I felt like I was working on a supercomputer.
And they would just leave you. They would just leave you alone. I didn't like that job, but I don't really count it because I only worked there for a week. And then I also worked at Toys R Us for like a few days. Like literally went to the training sessions. They were opening a new store. I went to the training sessions at an old location, and then I worked 2 days at the new location before it opened. Wow. And then I never went back.
I did that for a job.
I hated that too because it was the same thing. I mean, I liked going around and fixing things on the shelves so they were all perfect, but it was just incredibly boring. Like I was working at a movie theater at the time, which is so like fast-paced, high energy, working with a bunch of people. And then you would go to this place and it's just like walk around the aisles, answer questions, make sure everything's neat. Like that was it.
That sounds great.
Terrible. No, I like if I'm at work, I like to be busy.
I had a job where I didn't stay long either. I was in training. The training was like 2 weeks. The first week, the guys they had
2 weeks of training.
Yeah, most of the jobs I go to, like training is like a process.
Good God.
Because you have to learn a lot about products and shit. Now, it's like going back to school. Now this product it was for like Verifone. I don't know if you know it. It's like the POS system you a lot of times you use to like pay for whatever. It's like it's very popular in gas stations.
Okay.
So, anyways, the guys that were training us, they were like two guys that were like relatively new to the company, but apparently they worked their way up very quickly. I don't know, but they were Irish, and for the most part, I think of Irish accents and I think, oh, it's very similar to like a Jamaican accent in a weird way. Like if I hear an Irish person talk, I'm like, that kind of sounds like something we would say like with a Jamaican
That's
accent.
why sometimes people do Jamaican accents and people are like, that's Irish.
Yeah, because they're kind of similar. But for some reason, when these two guys talked, well, one of them, his accent wasn't too thick, but the other one, oh my God. Whenever he spoke, it just frustrated me because I really want to learn and understand, and I could not get it. I'm like, I cannot understand what you're saying, and I don't want to have.
It was that thick.
It was so thick, and I don't want to be that guy having to be like, can you repeat? Can you? Because if I say repeat, you're going to say it the same damn way you said it the first time.
Yeah.
And so, and the other guy that was there, he normally does the trainings, but he was ushering this new guy with a thick accent to like do a training class on his own. So he really didn't stick around. He just left the thick accent guy with us all the time, and he came in one, and I was like, I call over the one. I would like put my hand up, call the one guy the morning. Like after 5 days of training, I called him over, and I'm like, I'm struggling because there is a language barrier. I know he speaks English, but his accent is really thick, and it's hard for me to grasp what he's saying. I'm pretty sure he knows what he's talking about, but it's not coming. It's not. I'm not getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, I'll talk to him and see if he can talk slower or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to stick it out and see. Went back to work the Monday, same thing. We got a whole test on a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, oh, everyone was so frustrated. Everyone's like, this guy, I can't learn from this. So the Tuesday morning I went to work, I called the thick accent guy one side, and I was like, I'm not coming. This is my last day. For real, I was like, this job sounds really great, to be honest, but I can't continue this training with you.
That's all it took to break you.
And the guy with the regular accent came over and he's like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, give me one of those forms so I can give you guys like my exit review. Because I wanted people to know why I didn't come back.
Oh my gosh.
I was like,
It could not have been that bad, Michael.
I had a headache. I would sit. I was at the front of the class because I really wanted to understand and learn.
But if they had him teaching a class, it couldn't have been that bad.
It was his first time. They were like, he applied to be a trainer, and he was doing pretty good, like on whatever. And they were like, he wants to train, so it's his first training class. And they kind of left him there for the most part. They only came back every now and then to come check on him, but it was just not great.
You should have told him.
I did tell him when I was leaving.
No, but you should have told the thick accent guy, like, you need to slow it down because your accent is thick. Thickums.
Well, I told the other one. He told him to slow down, and it wasn't slowing down. And I was like, enough of this. I do not need this job. Y'all don't pay that much. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote on the exit interview, like, this is like a cute job, but ain't nobody got time to sit and listen to this shit. Like, I was...
Well, they were paying you.
Yeah, they damn right paid me for wasting my time for a whole week.
Okay, what was your first job, though? First job you ever had?
Well, first job was working for, like, my uncle.
Psh, doing what?
I mean, he had a small resort and a bar and a restaurant, like a little property. And I think he just found something for me to do. Because I went to him and I'm like, I want a summer job. I was like 14 or something. I'm like, I want a summer job. And he's like, okay. And he brought me some stuff to like file for him. Mm-hmm. Like put all of these files, scan them and put them into the computer. And like make a thing, Excel out of it and stuff. And I'm like, all right. I fucked it up.
Oh my God.
I messed it all up. He still paid me. Like, we're family. What are you going to do?
He still paid me.
Yeah. What was your first job?
The first thing I ever did was a paper route.
Oh, that's cute.
And I don't remember how old I was, but I made some good money. Like really good money. I think I told you about this the other day that it was, we got paid. I did it with my brother most of the time. He's a little flaky. But you get paid per flyer. Or I did with that one. It was one of the ones where it's like...
Yeah.
packed with flyers in the middle. So like a regular paper, you would get like whatever, I don't know, 10 cents a house. And I think I did 120 houses.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a lot. So I would like, I couldn't carry it in a bag.
And that was every day, like 5 days a week?
No, it was 3 times a week.
Okay.
So I think there was like a Wednesday paper, a Friday paper, and like a skinny Sunday paper or something like that. And I would roll up all the papers so they would get dropped off at my house. I would sit in front of the TV and I would have like the newspaper and then the row of like 15 flyers. And I would go down the row and put one of each flyer in it, roll it up, put an elastic around it.
Hold on, I'm trying to count your money. So 10 cents
10
per
cents
paper.
for 120 houses.
That's 120 houses. That's $12. And you do this 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So that's $36 for the week. Okay, whatever. You made a lot of money. For a kid. Like, for a kid, that was cute.
It was good money. You're getting at least $35 a week.
And yeah.
That's good money.
I extorted
and I was in grade
my uncle.
school. And I would put them all in like this bucket on top of a skateboard, and I would pull the skateboard all around the neighborhood and throw the things up, and I made like serious cash. And I did that for, I feel like I did it for like 2 years.
Do kids even
do
that anymore?
Brutal. And I used to live in like the snow belt when I lived up in Barrie.
Yeah.
And you'd have to trek through it like rain or shine.
That taught you some real strong work ethic, didn't it?
Apparently, because I still work hard. But yeah, I mean, that was a good job. I loved it at the time. Like sometimes my mom would have to be like, okay, you need to wrap your papers because you need to deliver them tomorrow after school.
Yeah.
But most of the time it was fine. I just did it.
Wow. Yeah, but that was my first job, yeah, as a kid. But like as like an adult, like when I started paying taxes and stuff. My first job was working as an entertainment coordinator for like this really huge hotel. I liked it. It was fun, but I got really sick doing it because it was so stressful. It was like...
You carry stress. You seem like a person who carries stress.
Carry stress? What does that mean?
You let it make you sick?
No.
Yes, that's what you just said.
Listen, this is when I found out I had a thyroid problem. Because
exactly.
It was 400 acres of land.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot of land. And this hotel is huge. And I had to be back and forth. I didn't have my license at the time, so I couldn't drive one of the golf carts. So
it's a golf cart. You need a license to drive a golf cart?
Yeah, they said that to drive it, you have to have a license. I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
I guess I can't drive one of them then. And so I used one of the bikes because the hotel had like hundreds of go-karts and hundreds of bikes, just like all over the place. This is it's like a whole freaking subdivision or something. It's huge. So I used the bicycle and I'd go get around from spot to spot because as an entertainment coordinator for the youths, I had to play a lot of games and coordinate movie nights for them, coordinate club nights when they would like go party and play. I'd be their DJ, their every damn thing. And so it was just like a lot because I had to make my schedule, and like from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I would be on the beach playing volleyball. And I was not keen on wearing sunscreen back then, so y'all can imagine. Like I was in the sun every day. So like from that time to that time, I'm playing volleyball on, let's say, the Coconut Beach, which was like a mile down, a mile away. And then I'd have to go from 11:30 to like 12:30 to do another activity that's outdoors, another mile away. So it's like riding back and forth, doing all these physical stuff. And I wasn't eating right. So that's when I like got really sick. And I was like, this job is not it for me. Plus, my boss yelled at me once and I gathered that bitch by the last strand of hair on her head.
Why?
She called over my office because I had like a whole, there's this teen zone.
Yeah.
They built like a whole building with just activities for kids to do and stuff. And my office, I had an office in there. And she called me one day and she's like, I don't know what was going on with her. I think something was closed and she wanted to know if I had a key for it. I'm like, I don't normally open it. Like Sandra opens that. And she was like yelling at me like, well, I can't find Sandra. You go open it. And she said and it wasn't even like that. Like she cursed at me. She said like something under the fuck, and like I was like, hold up, wait a minute. My little 18-year-old ass and her could look like she was old enough to be my mom. I was like, I gathered her on that phone call and I said, this could be my last day. I don't give a flying fish. But if you ever, you will see me. As a matter of fact, I'll come over there and tell you this to your damn face. Don't you ever.
Maybe she was just letting the stress get to her like you were.
Yeah, I'm not yelling at people though.
I know, but you let it manifest in a different way.
Yeah, let it kill me, but I'm not going to be rude to people.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So after that, my contract was coming up for renewal like 4 months after. They didn't renew my contract, and I kind of like didn't care because again I got really sick, and I was like, that's it for me.
The first real job I ever had was the Canadian Tire job.
Oh, the one that you went to like for 2 days.
Yeah, which lasted for like a week, and then a couple months after that, then I started at the movie theater, and I was at the movie theater for like 3 years.
I always thought it would be fun to work at a movie theater, but then I thought, I don't want to. It looks like a lot of work.
It's so much work.
Because I'm like, where would I be? Would I be serving popcorn? I don't like the scent of popcorn and butter.
Well,
and
the
all
whole
that
building
stuff.
smells like that, so.
Exactly. So I'm like, I don't want to be around that too often. The scent of it's like annoying to me.
You get used to it.
And I don't want to clean the freaking movie theater. You know what people do in there? Like, it's gross.
You just sweep. You literally just sweep. But it is like really hard work. Like that's all we talked about when we worked there. It's like you get paid minimum wage. When I started, they didn't even pay us minimum wage. They paid us student wage. It was $9.60.
Oh my goodness.
And I think it was $9.60. Yeah, and at the time minimum wage was $10.25. And then when I turned 18, I started making $10.25, and then minimum wage started to go up. But yeah, we were always like, you could work anywhere else and do half the amount of work for the same money.
Yeah.
Like you could be over there working at Subway, throwing together people's subs and sitting texting the rest of the time when it's not busy. But here it's like you're busting your balls. For like when you're in the concession stand, it's like you're slammed because all the movies start at the same time. So you have like these hundreds of people and you're trying to get food out as fast as possible. And then when you're cleaning the theaters, it's like they all end back to back. So it's like this theater ends and then you have a sheet. It's like, okay, 5 minutes later, that theater's ending. And the theater that I worked in had 24 theaters, which is like...
That's huge.
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest movie theaters in North America. Definitely the biggest one in Canada.
Whoa.
And so it was 24. So it was like...
24, okay.
There was 4 big theaters in the middle and then 2 wings. When you were like an usher cleaning the theaters, you were like assigned a wing. You would rarely have to do the whole building because that's suicidal. But when I was in university, when I started working the days... you would have to do the whole building by yourself. But it's because during the day, it's only like old people. So they just like leave their coffee cup. And that's it.
I love going to the movies in the daytime.
But it was backbreaking because you're an old person.
I just don't want to be in the movie with a bunch of people. When I go to the theater and I pick a seat and someone comes and sits beside me, my whole experience is ruined.
See, the thing is, when I go to the movie theater, I want people around.
For what?
Just for the movie-going experience, like especially if it's a comedy. If I'm going to see a comedy in the theater, I want to hear the theater laugh. Like if I'm in the theater and no one's laughing except me, I might as well be watching at home by myself.
Watching movies in Jamaica is the most hilarious thing. I remember watching movies back home and like people would like get up and like curse at the screen and everyone's like just like talking. it's
participating
like,
in it.
Yes, like we're all talking to each other and it's like watching a movie with your family. And when it's like a comedy and it's funny, like, I don't know, like you know Jamaicans and sometimes what they say is just so funny. It's really an experience. I can't explain it.
I remember I went to the movie theater for my friend Deshima's birthday when we were in high school. And I feel like we went to see Paranormal Activity. This girl, you haven't met her yet, so you don't know how loud she is.
Yeah.
But this girl was screaming at the top of her lungs. To the point where I was like, I worked there at the time. I was like, you need to shut up because I'm going to get kicked out. And when you get kicked out, they'll just fire you.
Really?
Yeah. There's been people who have been, when I was there, who were disruptive in movies. They just fired them. I almost got fired because I didn't almost get fired, but they came and talked to me because my brother snuck into a movie while I was working there.
Whoa.
Yeah. And they were like, what the hell? And at the time... I got free movies for everyone who lived in my house.
So why did he?
So they're like, why is he sneaking in? But obviously he was sneaking in with other people, right?
Mm,
So yeah, and then they caught him, and then I think they just like knew he was my brother from
I
like
mean,
seeing him around and stuff, like picking me up from work or whatever. And yeah, they came and talked to me like, you need to talk to him because if this continues, blah 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 blah. I'm like, I have no power over him. Like, what the heck?
yeah, but it's your family, so if he messes up, it could cost you your job.
And then the thing is, he applied at the theater like maybe a year later.
And they gave him the job?
No, they didn't give him the job.
Oh, they remembered.
They're like, you're the guy who snuck in.
Wow.
And they didn't give him the job. But then I think he applied again like maybe 8 months later. And then he started working there. And I worked with him for a while until I was unceremoniously let go.
Oh. It's funny
When
that
all my friends and my Deshima worked there, my brother worked there, my girlfriend worked there, my roommates worked there. And then they fired me.
and everyone else stayed.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I'm just not a rule follower.
Oh, a rule breaker.
Now at the time I was really good at my job, like really good at my job. I was the supervisor there. Just killing the game. Everyone loved me, but I do cut corners. I will fully admit I always cut corners at a job.
Mm.
If I think something I'm doing is unnecessary, I won't do it. And so, but this was kind of unrelated, but there were some incidents like that where I got write-ups.
Okay.
My whole time there, you know how sometimes I work too fast or like I don't pay attention to detail? Even though sometimes I do pay attention to detail too much, I had write-ups like the whole time I worked there. And it changed companies 3 times. So like the first company that I worked for, I had like 4 write-ups. And they're like, you get 5 write-ups, we have to let you go. But then my write-ups got washed away when we moved to the next company. And then I got more write-ups with the next company. And then the third company, they kept the second write-ups. Anyways, they're like, you have a lot of write-ups.
Yeah.
And then I got one more write-up, and they're like, if you get another one after this, we're going to suspend you. And basically, once you're suspended, you're pretty much fired, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I got another write-up. I don't remember what it was for. But then I was working, and when I was ushering, I was a floor supervisor at the end of the night, and you help out the ushers. And sometimes when it was like crazy blockbuster movies, it's too much garbage to like store in the theater, so they put it in a janitor's closet. And at the end of the night, it's your responsibility to clean out the janitor's closet. But they want you to take it out the frickin' back door and then walk outside to the main back door and put it in the garbage compactor instead of like bringing it through the whole lobby.
Well,
And I would always forget. You know me, like out of sight, out of mind.
yeah.
So like if it's in the janitor's closet, I don't think about it. Somebody will be like end their shift and be like, oh yeah, and there's 2 bags in that closet and 1 bag in that closet if you can get it at the end of the night. I'll be like, yeah, for sure. Never think about it again. So then, oh, actually, that's not what I got my last write-up for, but that's what I got my second last write-up for. And then I got my last write-up because I was the floor supervisor and I just punched out and went home without asking to go home. But we were always scheduled till 1 a.m. And I would always leave at like 12:45. But that day, it was this one manager who I still hate to this day, and I always hated the whole time I worked there. So I just like don't interact with him. Usually I'd be like, I'm leaving on the walkie and punch out.
Right.
Him, I was just like, punch out, bye. Anyways, the next time I came to work, he's like, can you come in the back for a second? I was like, fuck me. I was like, I'm getting fired right now. And he's like, why did you leave the other night? I was like, we always leave at 12:45. He's like, you didn't ask. I was like, I didn't think I had to ask. Like, we always leave at 12:45. He's like, okay, well, I have this write-up for you. I was like, you're a fucking asshole because obviously all the managers know my situation.
Yeah.
Like, one more write-up and I'm gone. So whatever, I signed the write-up and then I was on suspension. And then they called me and they're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. They were all super nice, though. They liked me. They're like, I guess the writing's kind of on the wall. We're going to have to let you go. But at that time, I had already become a manager at the Gap. And I was going back to school in the fall. So I was like, I would only have to keep one job anyways. But it was sad. But I was like, you're a bastard. Like, you're a full-on bastard. He was terrible, though. He was so terrible. There was this one time where we were working and we had like a garage door at the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like the garage door was closing and he like did like a body roll under the door to get
body roll.
Like he was like rolling on the ground. It wasn't like a somersault because he was like a big guy.
Yeah.
But it was like some kind of like spy type move to roll in as the door was closing. Somebody else did it and he flipped on them.
Really?
He's like, that's unsafe. Da da da. We're all standing there like,
you just did that.
You just did that. Oh my god, he's such a bastard. I remember there's this one time we used to have like at the end we had real melted butter, like it was literally real butter. So you could only keep it for a certain amount of days, right? And you could only rewarm it a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the night, there was like one that had a little bit left. And this is like so against food service
What,
laws.
are you
And
supposed to take it home? Did you?
No, you're supposed to like cover it
Yeah.
and put it in. But like as somebody who open and close concession, like you don't want to give someone something to open with that has this much butter in it.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's gonna run out in 2 seconds. So I just combined it with the other one, which you're not supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I combined it with the other one, covered it, put it in the fridge, and then at the end of the night, he would do concession checks because he was the food service manager. And I did concession a lot, which is why I hated him so much because we always crossed paths so much. And he opens the fridge and he's like, "This is really full." I'm like, "Is it?" And he's like, "It looks fuller than when you open up a brand new one." He's like, "Did you guys combine two together?" And everyone, like me, the supervisor, and like my 3 employees, like we all know that I combined 2 together. And he's like, "Did you guys combine 3 together? Or 2 together?" And we all just stood there looking at each other. I'm like, no. Must have just been a super full butter. I felt so proud of them in that moment. I was like, nobody say anything. Like with my eyes, I was just looking at them. And he's like, put it back, put it back in the fridge. And we kept rolling. I was like, fuck you, bastard. You think you're going to catch me on that? No. I hated him. Oh my God.
Wow. What was you say your best job? What was that?
My best job, the best job I ever had. I don't know. I guess it's the job that I'm in. I don't necessarily love the position that I'm in right now, but I can't really speak on it too much because I've only been doing it for a few months. So it could change and stuff. But I work in TV. I love TV. That was like my dream career. So I would say that this is the best job I've ever had. But like I said, I've loved all my jobs. Like working at the movie theater, I loved it so much. The pay is shit, but like I loved doing it. I was really good at it, like great at it. And then I started working retail, and I was like a merchandising manager. So I would do like put the new clothes out, do the mannequins, do the windows, all that. And I was super good at that. And I actually thought about just doing it as a career for a while. Like I went to college for 2 years. After my first year of college, one of the managers left. And they were like a full-time manager. I was part-time. And it was the full-time merch manager.
And they were about to give you that job?
And they were like, it's yours. And I was like, this timing is not convenient. And then I thought, when I was in school, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to finish school, get my diploma.
And come back.
And then I'm going to come back here and work full-time. And
Wow.
then I'll do that. Like, I loved it. The only thing I didn't like about it was shift work. Like, I want to work Monday, Friday, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And that's not retail. So that's the only thing I hated. But then that was always the plan. I hope my parents never listen to this. But that was always the plan, to just go back to retail. And then I ended up getting an internship, and the internship like worked out, and things just like progressed from that point. Also, when I got the internship, I had to quit the job because I moved to Toronto. Yeah. So when I moved back home, I didn't like go back to that job, and I was only back home for 2 weeks, and then I came back to Toronto, and I've been here ever since. But I loved retail.
Yeah, says you alone.
Because I wasn't like I wasn't a sales associate.
Yeah, I don't mind selling.
Like I was just like making.
I don't want to fold clothes.
I was like making the store look pretty and like doing all that stuff.
I don't even like folding my own clothes.
And I was good at it. I can fold clothes perfectly without a board.
I can fold clothes pretty well without a board.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
It's hard to say what my best job was. I worked in education. I worked at a college at one point. That was one of my favorite jobs. I really enjoyed it until I stopped liking kids and stopped liking the idea of teaching people. But when they like switched me, because I'm like, I don't want to teach anyone anymore, they switched me to more administrative stuff, and I was like, this is fun. I can be a coordinator and stuff like that. I love this.
Administrative, I can't.
It wasn't like I was pushing paper all day. It was more like I'm the coordinator for a program. They would like fly me out to places to go have meetings with people and stuff. I loved it.
I don't
So
know.
that was fun.
That social media job I had was the first time I've ever like had like a quote unquote office job where I
Yeah.
was like behind my computer screen most of the time, and I couldn't stand it.
I don't mind being behind a screen. I'm used to it. Most of my jobs have been behind screens. So I love the education job I had. I loved my last job in finance. It was really great. I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun. It was a really good environment. I think the job itself was, whatever. But like the environment was really cute, so I liked that. But then it became consuming, so in the end, not really. This job I have now, which is doing whatever the hell I want, this is what I really love.
Wow, really? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Imagine that.
Yeah, like I've as a kid growing up, I've never liked the idea of working for people. So when the pandemic happened and I was like, I can sit in front of a screen and do what I want. It doesn't pay me, but it's really liberating. So,
People like that, I can't relate. I'm totally fine with working for somebody. Like,
mm,
please.
no.
I'm totally fine with it. I'm not one of those people who like doesn't like authority.
I
Like,
don't
give me authority. I won't always listen to all of your rules. Like when you have your back turned, I'll cut all the corners. But
not hiring
I
you.
do such good work that you won't notice the corners are cut until you check concession at the end of the night and realize two butters were combined together.
Wow.
But you'll let it go because I do everything else so well.
You think.
Yeah.
I don't think. But yeah, I don't mind authority. I actually love structure and love when I'm in a situation where everything is like properly labeled and like everyone knows their role and things are just like going smooth because otherwise it's chaotic and chaos just like it messes with my mojo and my mood. But in like life, I want to be my own boss because I personally don't want to have to wake up and take a bus or a train to go to a building to do something for somebody else and then I had a job
Oh, I love
once
that.
and they wanted me to like work from 11 to 7. I was like, this is stupid and this is horrible.
I used to work 11 to 7.
I would, and they had all these mirrors around the freaking room. I could see outside and I would see the sun going down and I'm sitting around the desk looking like some sad puppy.
Yeah, it's hard when you have to work a mid shift and you feel like, okay, the whole day is taken up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because 11 to 7, when I leave work, and by the time I get on a bus or a train and want to go run an errand, it's like, okay, the mall's about to close, businesses are about to close 2 hours later. I can do nothing.
Yeah, those shifts are tough.
And then in the morning, it's like, where am I going to go to run an errand before 11 o'clock?
Yeah,
I need,
exactly. You don't do anything before it starts. Yeah, yeah.
so those days were my most hated days to the point where I would leave work early.
Mm.
I mean, I don't need these last 2 hours, bitch. I'm leaving at 5.
My favorite shift I ever worked was when I worked retail. It was usually 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 3 p.m.
I love early shift.
Loved it.
I
Once you get into the routine of waking
It's
up early,
easy.
it's fine. You get off and it's like you feel like you still have the daytime.
My perfect shift is what's it? 7 to 3.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's great. I wake up at 5. I have enough time to linger around the house before I get ready.
Linger.
Yeah, that's my thing. I wake up at 5 every day.
Can't relate.
So
I wake up and
back in
rush
the
out
day.
the door.
No, I hate rushing out the door. I would have to get to work for like 9, 10 ish, and I would wake up at 5 o'clock every day. I would like watch a movie on Netflix, go in the bathroom, do a little mini concert, like do whatever I want, make breakfast if I feel like it, then
No.
take my time, stroll out the door. Like I'd walk out to the bus stop and I'm like, oh, I actually want to change my shoes. And I'd go back and I'd do that and I'd come back out and I'd go to work. I'm like, my morning was just so calm and peaceful. I did whatever I wanted
Calm
to.
and peaceful. No. I rest. You know me. I live 15 minutes down the road from my office and I still get there late. The sweet spot is 7 minutes after. 9:07. You walk in at 9:07. That's perfect. If any earlier than 9:07, that's early.
That's the thing. I'm always early because
9:10, that's like, okay, you're almost late now.
I wake up like 4 or 5 hours before I need to be at work. So I have enough because I know myself. I take a while to pick out my outfits, and when I go to the bathroom, like that's a whole thing. Like, I spend an hour, 2 hours in there. Don't ask me what I'm doing. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm singing songs. I'm running the water.
No,
I'll sit around. I'll go through Instagram.
I rush out the door. I wake up at 8 o'clock and I start work at 9. Sometimes 8:15.
No, that's crazy.
Rush. You don't need to be up in the morning for?
Well, I'm a morning person. I love to be up early. And yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, comment, share, subscribe wherever you're listening to this on, and like interact with us. Let us know what you think of the podcast and if you want us to talk about any other topics that are close to you.
And you forgot to mention your Patreon.
Bitch. I'm on Patreon. Go over to Patreon/TooMuchStudios and subscribe. I'm doing so much on there. I'm so excited for this. I'm going to be doing a get ready with me before Drag Race starts every week. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on stuff that I don't talk about on YouTube. It's just so much new, fresh content, personal stuff. If you want to know more about my personal life and like see pictures of me and people in my life and videos and like all these stuff.
Michael wants to do a video podcast, but I'm still humming it over.
Yeah, like, it's going to be lit. Go over there, subscribe. You will not be disappointed.